Hey, this is Mike from the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today we're looking at Cloudspire from Chip Theory Games. Quick disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this game. So I asked our wonderful Patreon supporters, thank you to all of you, whether we should do a solo or co-op playthrough, and they chose the co-op. I also had them vote on which of the 4 factions from the base game I should play in the co-op scenario, and the first choice they made, the highest vote getter by far, was the Braunen, which is sort of a dwarf kind of faction with siege towers and catapults and lots of cool stuff.
They also voted for the Heirs, which are a bird race with lots of mobility.
That worked out well because it just so happens that the first scenario in the set of cooperative scenarios that comes with the base game, it features these 2 factions. So for setup, it might look complicated, but all these numbers are just showing you which tiles are being laid out to form the map. But this is the setup for the scenario, which is called Sky Pact. You do have some narrative for it, but it just kind of sets the scene for these 2 testing out some towers to go against their enemies, so we'll just move on from that. And the key feature in the scenario are these 3 towers, A, B, and C, that are controlled by my 2 factions down here at the bottom, and were opposed by these 2 other factions. And the basic idea of the scenario is we're trying to protect these 3 towers, if we can, through 4 waves of the enemies attacking. With the co-op scenarios, each of them comes in pairs, so we could play a second scenario that would be changed based on how we did in the first one. Basically, we'd start with more towers over here, based on the number of towers we protected here. But for today, we're just going to do this one scenario. That should be enough to show the game off. And the setup will include which spires are on the board. Those are basically defensive towers. Again, this is sort of a tower defense / MOBA game. So here I've got these lookout launcher spires, which are special ones that are kind of a combo of the air and the Braunen spires. And it says AR, that means an attack chip, and a range chip, which goes underneath the tower, basically to show how well it can strike. If you want to see what one of these 3 looks like, so they actually told me to put a lance launcher, which is a Braunen tower, underneath a regal lookout, because basically they're going to be helping each other out. The Braunen control the tower, but the regal lookout has a roost and elfin power, which basically means they're going to be able to get these little kamikaze birds on top of them that can bomb people as they walk by. So we kind of have like the best of both worlds here. And we've got our attack and our range chip underneath. That means this can attack for 1 damage, or 1 damage die, I should say, and up to 2 range, because 1 is basic, plus another one from the green chip. And they're each laid out here. Besides building the map and laying out those towers, the only real setup for the game is putting out these little landmark chips. And the key thing is these little swamp ones with a little bit of water there have to go on the source wells. You see these little blue things here that are closest to bases. But all the rest of them are just randomized and dealt out. And in most scenarios, these source wells would be super important because those are the places where you can build more spires. But in this scenario, it's all about these 3 spires here, so we aren't allowed to build spires, and I don't think the enemy is going to either, so we're really just focusing on these and the units that are fighting. The scenario does have some extra rules that are all laid out for you. You'll see we have objectives, and there's always 3 in both the solo and co-op scenarios, and basically you're trying to do the best you can. In this case, it's really simple. If we keep a single lookout launcher spire alive through the 4 waves, we get 1, 2, or 3. So basically, the more towers we keep alive, the better we did. We lose if either of our fortresses is defeated, because even though we're protecting the towers, the enemies are going to move past them toward our castles, our bases, basically, and can destroy them. And we also lose if all of the spires are defeated, of course, because that's our victory condition. Now we have some special rules. I already said that the spires are kind of a combo of the best things and can launch those kamikaze birds. It also says the heirs can upgrade the towers or the spires. Usually only the side that owns a spire can upgrade it, but in this scenario, both of my allies can upgrade it, so they can both help to keep those things alive and make them stronger. Finally, we've got a lot of notes about the AI heroes and what they'll do, but they're not spawning in the first wave, so we don't have to worry about them. And then also, the AI chips have all these special talents on them, and this kind of clarifies how they're used, but we don't have to worry about that right now. There's also no event die in the first wave, so we can ignore that. Instead, we can go right into the first wave, and this is a really simple one. It's going to kind of walk you through the steps of a wave very simply. So first, we have to clarify who the mark is for each of our armies, and the mark is which fortress gate the general minions will walk towards. Heroes can go wherever they want, but minions have to keep progressing down these paths, these sort of grayish road hexes, toward their marked fortress. So it says here we can choose either the Auroran Fortress Gate or the Grove Tender. Those are the 2 opposite enemies we have at the other end of the map. And in this case, the Aurora are going to come from the Braunen, and the Grove Tenders are going to mark the Heirs. Now, to give you a sort of big overview, because this is a big map and there's a lot of stuff going on, the Aurora are the sort of lightish bluish ones over here. They're kind of like these mystical cultists who are worshipping the source that you're all fighting over and using to fund your armies. The Grove Tenders are kind of these natural guys, the green viney ones, and they can summon like tree-based enemies to help them. Then the Brahnin and the Heirs are over here respectively. Brahnin, their gray dwarven citadel, and the Heirs with their light airy floating fortresses. And again, for this wave, the Aurorans are going to go toward the Brahnin, and the Grove Tenders are going to go toward the Heir, which basically just means we got kind of like a little X pattern going on. So we would have to pick what our mark is, but in this case it won't matter because they're not giving us, any CP command points to buy any units with. All we're going to have are our heroes, and heroes can move wherever they want anyway. So we'll just skip the whole marking step for this wave and get to that in wave 2. So next you have the event step, but you skip it on the first wave, so nothing happens. We would get our income, which is 0 source, so we all have 0 money to spend on things. Normally there'd be a market step where we could buy stuff, but we have no source and there's nothing to buy, so we skip it. And there's usually a build step where we can upgrade our spires or build new ones, but we're not allowed to build new spires, and we don't have any source to upgrade spires, so we skip that. So we get right to the prep phase and then into the Onslaught phase. And the Onslaught phase is where you actually move your guys around. That's the real meat of the game. All the rest of this just kind of sets you up. So normally they would tell us how many command points we have to build our army, but in this case we have 0. So the only thing we get is our free basic level hero who costs 0 command points. Meanwhile, they tell us what the Grove Tenders and the Aurora are going to bring, and oh my gosh, it is a lot of powerful enemies. So this is going to be building their stack from top to bottom. So the first group's listed will be on the top, and then the middle, and then the bottom. You'll see what that looks like in a second. And when they're in brackets, they are grouped together. I'm going to show you what that means as I go over these units. So the unit on top of the Grove Tender stacks is a Warbriar, this kind of foresty piggy guy. And stats here, this is pretty consistent for everybody. He's got 3 health, 1 attack, that's how much damage he does. You don't roll dice for units, you only roll them for spires. This guy just automatically does 1 damage when he attacks. Move statistics, so he moves 2 hexes each round. Command points that cost to summon him to battle, it's 2, but the AI doesn't care about that. And how much source you get for defeating him as a reward. So if you kill this guy, you get 1 source. Additionally, he's got a talent, and pretty much every unit does. And every faction has this nicely made quick guide to all the talents and abilities of their faction, including how they upgrade their fortress. But in this case, Impale, at the end of this unit's movement, it deals 1 damage to all adjacent opposing units if it was not adjacent prior to moving. So basically just charges into people. Now every unit does have an upgraded side, but they'll indicate in the scenario guide when you use that. Here we're not, so we just have the basic one. Now if you'll remember, the 3 Warbriars had a bracket around them. That means they're all grouped together. So what that means is you stack the 3 Warbriars together, and you put 3 chips under them for the 3 health that a Warbriar has, but you only do the health for the topmost guy. So here I've got a group of 3 Warbriars, but only one of them can be hurt right now. So like if I blew up something, only this guy would take damage. He can also only attack, and they all move as a big group. Now if he gets defeated, I immediately put 3 new health chips under this one. So basically they're shielding each other, and we just have to destroy them one after the other to destroy the whole stack. Next, they have 2 Vine Heralds grouped together. These guys also have 3 life, 1 attack, 2 movement, basically the same, but they have 2 rage, which means they can attack from long distances and also hit flying units, which will affect my heirs, my little bird guys. Finally, not grouped with anyone, but he doesn't need to be, Grizzled Oak, 6 life, 2 attack, moves really slowly, but yeah, this guy is huge and very tough to beat. So during the prep phase, you build what's called your deployment stack, and again, the AI tells you what order to put these guys in. And they all go on top of your fortress's main gate. And basically on their first turn, they'll start deploying and moving out from their gate, following the paths to try to get to their mark. For these guys, they'll try to get over here to the air base. Meanwhile, for the Auroran, we've got 3 drifts all grouped together. These guys have 3 life, 1 attack, 3 movement, and troublesome for me, they're incorporeal, which means you can't attack them unless you're next to them, which is going to make them more dangerous to the spires I'm trying to defend. Next, we have an Evangelist who can do 2 damage, not good for me. Also has 2 range, and has the Assimilate ability, which means if I kill other guys within 2 hexes of him, I don't get the source for them. He basically sucks it up himself. Finally, we have a super nasty customer, I think worse than that tree guy, and this is a Nitrous. 3 attack, 3 life, 4 health, and he's incorporeal, which means I can't even use my spires to defeat him consistently. Oh my gosh. And just like with the Grove Tenders, this giant stack is going to go on their base, ready to come kill me. Now, normally I would be constructing my own stack, but I have 0 command points, so all I can use is my basic hero that costs 0 command points. This one is Osh for the Brahmin. He's got 3 life, 1 attack, 2 movement, and he's got the Hunter talent, which means he does extra damage against landmark enemies, which are some enemies are hidden underneath these things and can get you swords for defeating them. By the way, something I didn't mention is terrain movement capability. Osh has the forest symbol, so most minions can only move on the gray path hexes, so they have to stick to those. Next easiest to move on are the little plains here. If you have the plain symbol or anything later, you can move on those. Forests are next most difficult, then mountains, and finally water. So Osh can move on plains and forests, but not mountain or water. The better your terrain thing, you can move on everything that comes before. And don't forget, because he's a hero, he can move freely. You'll see how all this works when we get into the Onslaught phase. Finally, I get little Darb. He's got 3 life, 1 attack, 2 movement, and he's got water movement because he can fly, which means he can go over anything, including water. He's also got the flying talent, which means nobody can attack him unless they have the ranged ability, but he can still be hurt in a lot of ways, so don't think he's invulnerable. Oh, and I forgot to say, you've got these little circles here. Those are upgrade slots, which means Darb, if he kills somebody, he gets to upgrade with either +1 attack or +1 fortification, which gives him extra life. And if he gets an upgrade once he's already full, he'll instead flip to his leveled up side, and the same will happen with Osh. Alright, so everything's set up. We have our little heroes, some fairly weak towers. No idea how I'm going to survive the ridiculous onslaught coming my way, but we'll see what happens. So some powers do trigger at the beginning of the Onslaught phase, and one of the main ones that's going to matter in this scenario is the Elfin power here. So these things say 3 Roost and 1 Elfin, and I mentioned them before, but here they are, the Elfin Kazi. These are my little diamonds in the rough, my little hole card here to help me win. They have 1 life, 1 attack, flying, roast room. That's the key talent here. They don't have a movement statistic themselves, but they can just hang out on a roosting place. We're going to have 1 on each of these. And they can move up to the roost value, so 3 for these spires, away. So you can just fly like over there or over there. But if they start a turn off of a roost, then they have to either move and blow themselves up or move back to the roost. Now they've got 2 sides, and I can pick which one I use. Here they're using a little bomb. They've got the glide bomb talent. If they move next to somebody, they can end their turn and do 2 damage to that person. But they've also got a save side that lets them heal people, but I think you can tell which one I'm going to be using here. They do each have 1 life, so I'm going to put 1 health chip underneath each of them. And they sit on top of the spires, but that does not mean the spires can't do their thing. They can still attack when enemies move. So now we're going to get in and play out the first wave and show you how the game really works. So the turn order is Brahmin, Aurora, Heirs, and Grove Tenders. We're going to take a Brahmin turn and show you what that's like. Alright, so here's Osh over here, pretty close to one of the towers and also close to the enemies that can easily kill him. My best chance to make something happen here is to try to attack some of these landmarks, because they'll often have enemies and other things that can earn me source underneath them. Now if I can get some source, because right now I have 0, twice during the Onslaught phase I can spend source to upgrade towers, so I can make these spires stronger and hopefully hit the enemies harder when they get close to them. So Osh can move up to 2 hexes, and don't forget he can't move into mountains or lakes, but he can move into forests, and everybody can move along the paths. So I think I'll go here, because during the exploration step of the turn, before you attack, you can flip over and look at any landmarks next to you. Now you don't have to keep them flipped over, unless sometimes there's some enemies that'll jump on you, but you can at least like peek at them and see what's there. So the next step of the turn is Spire Fire, and basically for every spire that's within range of some of my guys that just moved, they could attack, but the only spires on the map are my own, so no worries there. Next is Exploration, and I'm going to go and look at this Swamp one first. The Swamp ones are always easier, that's why they get seeded at the entrance to your fortresses. Right, so there's a Bounty Hunter, he's got 4 life, 2 movement, doesn't usually matter, except there are some abilities that let you recruit these guys to your side. He gives you 3 source if you defeat him. And he's got the Fair Fight talent, which means that he attacks you for as much damage as you attack him. Because in this game there is retaliation, and generally speaking, if you attack someone but don't defeat them, they'll hit you back. So I can go ahead and give this guy 4 health. I could choose not to flip him, but he doesn't have the Engage talent, which means that I have to attack him if I'm next to him. So I'm not going to worry about him right now. And my second option, Grail Wolves, Relentless. Okay, Relentless means that they can do not only their regular damage, which is nothing right now, but they keep on rolling the white Spire dice, and they could do like 3 or 4 or 5 damage depending on how well they roll, because they keep rolling until they get a 2 or a 0, which is only 1/3 of the sides on the die. So these guys are tough. Now, they do have a bonus here. This is a relic, which means you get this really powerful relic card. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm not going to be attacking these guys. Now, the question becomes, do I even want to flip them? Because they could really shred up my soldiers who would have to fight them. So, for now, I think I'm not going to flip those guys. Now, the final step of an Onslaught turn is to attack in whatever order you want with all your people who are able to attack. So Osh can attack the Bounty Hunter. Remember, he's got Hunter, so he's going to have 2 attack instead of 1, and the Bounty Hunter will hit him back for 2. So he'll get the Bounty Hunter down to 2 life, and he'll be down to 1 life, but next turn he'll be able to do the final 2 life to kill him. That'll give me 3 source to upgrade some towers, and it'll level up Osh, so yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So that's 2 health off the Bounty Hunter, 1 attack plus 1 from Hunter, and then Osh gets hit back for 2, so he's down to 1 life. And you do not want to let your heroes die, because once they die, that's it. You can never bring them back. Okay, next are the Narora, who again I think are the more dangerous faction in this case. And they're trying to make as much progress as they can towards the gate they're targeting, in this case the Brawnin one, down to the lower left where I just acted. And they're going to use their full movement statistic to do that. So AI is pretty simple. They just basically charge forward as quickly as they can. So you go 1 stack at a time. I've got my 3 grouped drift, and they have 3 movements. So 1, 2, 3. You'll notice that there is no path going down here, so they can't go that way. Then the Evangelist has 2 movements, so he'll go right there. And the Nitrous has 3 movement. He'll try to use as much of it as he can, but he always wants to progress as far as possible, so he's going to stop right there. Now after movement, I check if any of my Spires can shoot. And remember, green is a range chip, and Spires start with 1 range automatically, so I've got 2 range, but good for me, the Evangelists also can't shoot from where they are. So no, Spires attacking, they never explore landmark tokens, they just pass right by them, and they can't attack, so we're going to go to the next turn. In this case, we have Darb, our little flying hero. I guess he'll fly over and just explore this landmark. Okay, it is a 4 life guy with no attack, though, so I can just plink him for a while. I guess that's what I want to do. It gives me 4 source if I defeat him. He's got Toxic Secretion. That means anybody that moves into a hex adjacent to him takes 1 damage, but since I'm already flying right next to him, I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I will try to kill this guy before the wave ends and get myself some source, because I don't know if Darb can help much with the fighting otherwise. So during the attack step, I hit him for 1. He has no ability to retaliate. He doesn't have the fair fight ability and has no attack statistic. So 3 more turns of that, sir, and I will defeat you. And finally, we go to my fun Grove Tenders. So the War Briar, my little piggies, are moving 2. 1, 2. And you can't see it fully, but just like with an Aurora on the other side, down here is a dead end. They have to kind of go around that way. All right, now I can be a little tricky to mess up the enemy here, because if I move the Vine Heralds 1, 2, because they don't want to use all of their 2 movement, they would be just as close as they would be right here, but they would also be able to attack my tower, and my tower would be able to hit them, but that's not so great. I don't want it to get damaged. So I can choose to have them use their full movement. The only rule is they have to use all their movement if they can, and they have to be as close to their goal as possible, make as much progress as possible. So since this and this are equivalent in terms of how close they are to getting to my gate, I can go 1, 2, and leave them out of range, so my tower can just attack the Warbriar undefended here. That means the Grizzled Oak will just move 1 space there. That also slows him down, so definitely happy with that little choice. And here we do have a little bit of Spire attack. Each orange chip is 1 attack value. And I'd mentioned the Spire attack dice, but this is the only random damage in the game. All of the unit damage is automatic. So it's got 1 blank side, 1 2 side, and then 4 1 damage sides. So let's see if I can get lucky here. Nope, just a standard result, 1 damage. So I take away 1 life from the Warbriar. And don't forget, even when I defeat his other 2 health, we're just going to get another one right underneath him coming out. So that was 1 entire set of turns for the Onslaught phase. We're just going to keep on going through those until all of the minions are dead or one of my bases gets destroyed. Alright, so Osh is just going to go ahead and plink away the Bounty Hunter. Since he deals the 2 damage to him with his Hunter bonus, this guy does not get to retaliate, which is good for us, because otherwise Osh would be dead. So we get a source reward of 3 source. And to show that, we just rotate our little chip in here to its 3 side. And Osh also gets to level up. He's got an upgrade capacity of 1, so this is the only time he can level up before he flips to his stronger side. And you can get either a fortification that would just act as an extra point of damage that would have to be taken away first, or an extra attack, which will give him a 2 attack or 3 against a landmark. I think I'm going to go with the attack and just hope I hit things I can kill. Oh, no, crud, I forgot something I wanted to do. Sorry, I got confused filming. During the air turns, I can use the Elfin Kazis, and I think I wanted to use my first one, because these are, again, the only way I can possibly survive here. So the 2 things that I think are nastiest for me at the moment, besides the Grizzled Oak, are the Evangelist and the Nitrous. The reason for that is everybody else, besides the Grizzled Oak, has only a damage value of 1. And what I can do with the towers, once I get some source, which I just got a little bit, I can build a fortification chip, which is a yellow one, on the bottom here for some of my source. And a fortification chip, you have to destroy the bottom one first, and they require 2 damage to be destroyed at one time. So that would basically make that tower completely invulnerable to their attacks, unless they have 2 attack value, which again the Nitrous and the Evangelist do. So what I was thinking is if I can fly this Elfin Kazi over and blow up both of them for 2 damage, they both only have 4 life, then hopefully in a future turn they'll array themselves out such that those guys are next to each other. I can blast them again and finish them off. So let's say I did that on the heirs last turn, because otherwise they would be out of position for the idea. So that's again 2 damage from each of them. Okay, but now with that out of the way, let's do their actual turn. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 for the Evangelist. 1, 2 for the Nitrous. He has 3, but he can't go any further past one of his own minions. And sadly, none of them are in range of a tower, but man, they're going to be in range of attacking us pretty soon. All right, now we go to the heir's turn. I kind of want to get Darb out there and do something. He could help out the tower. Because what I'm seeing is on the next Noroa turn, these Drift are going to run right in here. I can use the Braunin's source they just got to add a fortification tile and protect this one, but they'll still be able to attack the other Regal Lookout. Whereas if Darb was over here, he could get attacked instead. Oh, no, the guy wouldn't attack him because he doesn't have range. So never mind, Darb can't kind of interrupt the attack regardless. So for now, I guess Darb will just proceed with his plan to slowly kill this guy while our towers get destroyed. Now we just look quickly. Do we want to Elfin Kazi anybody? Remember, they can move up to 3 spaces, but we can't go on a landmark, unfortunately, because man, that would be awesome to blow all those guys up. Yeah, I can't get anywhere that's going to hit both of them. Let's see, after next turn, that guy will be here, he'll be here, and he'll be there. Oh, crud. I can't get both of them until later anyway. And I could Elfin Kazi the 2 guys over here, but again, they don't seem as dangerous at the moment. I do think I want to move this guy off of here, because when the incorporeal guy comes in, he would rather kill a unit than damage a tower. Although I guess that could be good for me, but no, I think I need to blow up these guys if I'm going to win. Yeah, so for now, I guess I'll move him over here. Now, that means the next turn he has to either go back to a roost or move and blow himself up. He can't hang away from his roost multiple turns in a row. But the other Elfin Kazi, I think I'm going to leave alone for now. All right, now we get to my plant friends. The Warbriars go there. The Vine Herald could go there or there. We'll keep him out of range of shooting my birds. And the Grizzled Oak just lumbers very slowly, but no one is in range of a tower, unfortunately. All right, we're back to Osh and the Braunin. I could run up here and try to pick off somebody once they get injured. But man, I think it's a dangerous proposition. I think for now it probably makes more sense for him to kind of slow play it and run around and try to check out some more landmarks. Oh, but lest I forget, I do have some source now, and I want to use it. So to upgrade a Spire, you need to spend as much source as the number of upgrade chips on it, plus the new one you're adding. So in this case, 3 for any of these. I'm not sure at all if it's the right call, but yeah, I think I want to go with the fortification thing there to protect them from the smaller guys. So we're going to spend all 3 of our freshly gained source to put that right there. So this one is now immune to most of their attacks, but both of the exterior ones are not. And a quick note, upgrading a Spire happens at the start of your Onslaught turn, and you can only do it twice per wave, so I've already done it once for the Braunin. Alright, now things go kind of terrible. This Drift runs in for 3, and he wants to progress as far as possible, so we literally could not go to where my Elfin Kazi is. Meanwhile, the Evangelist goes 2, and so does the Nitrous. Remember, the Drift is incorporeal, which means he can only be attacked by Spires and units next to him, but the Regal Lookouts are, so he's going to get hit. And each of them only has a single attack, so we're going to roll for both of them at the same time. Oh, nice. Okay, we got a 2 and a miss, so I guess that's pretty average. So this Drift is down to 1 life, but don't forget there are 2 more waiting. But then he gets to attack. He's going to ignore something he can't hurt, which is the fortification one, which means he's going to attack this Spire. And no matter how much damage you deal on an attack, you only remove one chip. So in this case, it loses its range chip, and now it can still do one attack, but only at range 1, right next to itself. And if it loses that last chip, it is gone. All right, now we go to the heir's turn, and you know, might not be the best idea, but I think a slight change of plan is in order. Let's fly Darb over here and defeat this drift that only has 1 life left because he won't retaliate. And even when you have other guys grouped underneath, they don't get to retaliate in place of the guy who died. So we defeat him, and we get 2 swords for the heirs, not quite enough to upgrade anything. Well, actually, I guess we could upgrade that one if it stays alive. We have 3 new health chips underneath the drift because it's an all-new one. And then Darb gets to level up, and we'll give him a +1 attack as well, so now he can do 2 damage and maybe finish some of these guys off. Now, the big question is, we're going to use some Elfin Kazis, or are we not? I think we need to use at least 1, because otherwise this Evangelist will come down with his 2 range. He can kill off that tower, or attack Darb, or shoot something else. I don't like any of that. Alright, so yeah, I think I'm going to fly this one up to here, and he'll kill this guy off, which will get me 4 swords, so now I can really upgrade something next round. And then I'll also finish off this Warbriar. Now, that's a simultaneous thing, so I'm going to assume that Assimilate does cancel the 1 source reward from the Warbriar, since this guy stops anybody else who gets killed. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but let's give the enemy the benefit of the doubt. That means we're down to 2 Warbriar, but this one's got an all-new 3 set of health chips. And our second Elfin Kazi is gone. Oh, crud, I just realized that this guy's going to run in for 3 and definitely smash up this tower and smash up the thing that I just built. So the question is, do I go and blow my 3rd Elfin Kazi? I think I do. Alright, so he'll move out. By the way, all this would have happened before Darb attacks because you do all your moves, then all your attacks, but the glide bomb happens after they move or before they move. So he'll fly in here, do 2 damage to the new Warbriar, and kill off the Nitrous, getting me 4 more swords. Awesome. If you're not keeping track, that is 10 total, so I can certainly upgrade some towers on my next 2 turns. But we're out of trump cards, we're just down to our basic stuff now, so let's see how that goes. So the Aurora are pretty much blown up, but the Warbriar, the Vine Herald, and our slow Grizzled Oak are still going to keep moving forward. The Warbriar is within range of my 1 Spire, so let's see if we can finish him off with a damage. Yes! And this is good for us because the Spires are technically controlled by the Brahmin, so they're going to get the 1 source, which will even things out a little bit so they can hopefully do some upgrading. And so we've got 1 Warbriar left with 3 health. And the key thing is now, except for the Grizzled Oak, nobody on the board can damage a Spire that has a fortification at the bottom. So that kind of dictates my next move. I probably want to upgrade something like that. Alright, so we're back to the Brahmin. I would love to have him go and investigate some of these landmarks, but the Drift's going to come in and kill him if he does. Actually, yeah, he's in a terrible place, because if he's over here, the Warbriar will attack him. If he's anywhere around here, the Drift will get him. Gosh, does he have to retreat 1? That seems silly. But yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. That's terrible. And yeah, I only have 1 source for the Brahmin, so they can't help to upgrade the towers. And by the way, I'm not out of the woods with an Aurora, because they're going to go 1, 2, 3, and they're going to work their way around to my base, and they could do a ton of damage before they're killed. Basically, whenever you attack the opponent's base from the hex right next to it, you deal your attack value, and the base only has 10 life, and then it does 1 damage automatically back to you. So these drifts, if they're both just getting through clean, could do 6 damage before they're destroyed. That's not good. Now we get to the air turn. I think I can again pick which way the enemies go since they're each equidistant. So I'm going to upgrade this one, I think, to have a yellow, and to have them go down this path so they're not attacking Darb. So that'll cost 3 of my 10 source. And now it has the little fortification at the bottom, which again will take 2 damage to destroy. Sadly, Darb can't finish anybody off. They all have 3 life and only has 2 attack. But things should look a lot better after they come down here and get shot by the Spires, so let's wait for now. Let's see, Darb could come over here and investigate this landmark. Now you might ask why I would do that, but if it ends up being an enemy, enemies will attack landmark minions if there's nothing else they can attack. So if it's some like big nasty guy, he could just eat this drift up for breakfast. Of course, if it's somebody that automatically attacks Darb, I might be in trouble anyway, although with him being flying, he's probably okay. So yeah, let's go down here. The 2 range guy is not going to quite make it over here, neither will the Warbriar. And heroes do not have to attack, so I can choose not to attack this drift and get hurt. We're in the exploration phase. No luck with some big guy that'll eat him. So a Riftwalk means I can move from here to another hex that has Riftwalk if I happen to find another landmark like that. Overload means if I move on here and spend 6 source, I can get a relic and destroy it. Doesn't seem really worth it when my source is so precious. Alright, I'll choose not to attack, but yeah, not too great of a turn there. Alright, here we go. The Warbriar come through, and the Vine Herald, and the Grizzled Oak keeps marching along. So I've got 2 spires that can fire here. These guys, by the way, can't hurt the spires at all, thank God. So the question is, I guess this one will shoot at the Warbriar to set him up to maybe be killed by Darb next turn. The other one could shoot at the Vine Herald, could even start plinking away the Grizzled Oak. I do have to defeat that guy at some point. Yeah, for now, let's shoot at the Warbriar with the first one. Okay, got him down to 2 life. That's enough to finish him off. And the other one, do I want to attack the Vine Herald? Yeah, I guess I'll attack the Vine Herald so he can be finished off as well. There we go. You know what I just remembered? The Aurora are going to come around this way to attack the Brawnin base, which means I could set them up to be eaten by some wolves pretty quickly. Although, darn, I should have done it in a previous turn because now I don't think I can. If I run up here, the Warbriars and the Vine Heralds are going to rip me apart. If I run over here, I'll be the one he targets instead of the landmark. Yeah, not great planning on my part. I guess I can go down here and see what this is at least. A Rogue Grizzled Oak. Yeah, I don't think I can defeat that, sorry. But this time I'll at least be smart and leave it in play. Alright, then the Aurora do just move in. So the best I can basically hope for at this point is they'll hit my fortress for 1 damage, it'll leave them with 2 life, Osh can come in and damage them for 2. Oh, but then I think they'll kill him instead of attacking the fortress, so I gotta just let the first guy be plinked down. Oh my gosh. Well, in any case, let's do the heir's turn. I guess I'll upgrade this one back with a range. That only costs me 2 since it only has 1 chip left on it. So that leaves me with 5 source left for next turn, not bad. Then Darb will fly in here and finish off the last Warbriar, woohoo. And that gets us another source. And now this isn't necessarily great. Darb has to level up, but when he does that, he loses his attack thing. He can gain it back, but he doesn't have 2 attack for now. What he does gain, though, is his alternate skill, Dodge, which means if he would be killed, instead he gets flipped back to his less experienced self, and he can level up again. Osh definitely has the better level up side, because then he actually has 2 attack, and that would be 3 if he leveled up. But for now, we're going to have to stick with Darb. My planty friends are going to go 1, 2, and the Grizzled Oak. So my Vine Herald is in range of 2 spires. Let's see how the damage goes. Whoa, 3. Even if he had been fully healthy, he would have died. So we get another source going to 7, and we're down to our last Vine Herald with 3 life. But he can still attack with range, which means he can even hit Darb with his flying ability. So that's 1 life off Darb, and his retaliation takes 1 life off the Vine Herald. All right, now good news for me over on the Brawnin front. I just checked the AI unit attack priority, and its first priority is always the Fortress Gate, even over a hero it can defeat, which means I can let this guy get plinked once, defeat him with Osh, and happen again twice. So my Fortress Gate will only take 2 damage, and Osh will level up and be ready to go. So let's get ready for that. We'll go ahead and run over here. But we, of course, won't attack yet because we would be killed. And then for the Aurora in turn, they run over here. They attack our gate. Take it down from 10 to 9 life. And they get retaliated 1 away, setting themselves up for Osh to finish them. Meanwhile, for the air turn, my man Darb is going to finish off the Vine Herald. Do I need to move anywhere? I guess I'm fine. So that'll get me 1 source. And of course, I'm going to get him back to 2 attack. And note that even though I have 8 source, I've already upgraded towers twice, which is the limit for each faction, so I can't upgrade any more until we get to the next wave starting. Alright, Old Man Oak is coming in. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to deal with him. But let's get down here. Osh, it's your moment to shine. Run in with your +1 attack. Finish that drift off and get yourself 2 source. So the last drift will come back with 3 health. And Osh flips to his leveled side, so he loses his attack, although for him, he's got 2 attack anyway. And he also gains the nice talent Survival. If he doesn't move or attack on a turn, he heals 1 life, which in this kind of guerrilla warfare scenario is going to be key. Now on the Auroran turn, they hit me again. Go down to 2 life. Osh, there you go. Okay, now for the heirs. It's not looking great. So Grizzled Oak is going to run in here. He's going to get shot by 1. He's going to run in again, smash away my nice little fortification. You know what I just remembered? Fortifications always cost 2 source. They don't cost a different amount based on the other chips. That means that both of my sides have 1 more source left, which might be key for the Brawnin. But sorry, back to my ruminations. Alright, so this guy's going to come in, he's going to get shot. Darb could run in. He would not die, he would just lose his dodge, but I don't know if that's worth it. Yeah, so for now, Darb will just hang out. I wish I had activated whatever that is. Maybe that would be killing him. You know, just in case, I'll go to move up here. Maybe I will look at that and set them up for some damage later on. Okay, and Grizzled Oak is going to come in here and just get shot for 1. Oh, I'd love a 2 here. Oh my gosh, yes! That's making things look a whole lot better. He only has 4 life now. Alright, Hush, not much you can do to help, but you do defeat the drift. Get yourself 2 source, and let's get you another attack so you can do 3 damage. That'll one-shot a lot of guys. Well, speaking of source, I've got 4 right now. Before I got the 2 from killing that guy. That would be enough to build like another attack chip here. That would hit the guy for 2, plus 1, that'd be 3. But nah, probably still won't kill him. I guess it's not really worth it. What will probably happen is he'll come in, he'll blow up the fortification, but then Darb can finish him off if they do their standard damage. So let's save our source for later, and we can upgrade to our heart's content once we get to the next wave. So Darb is going to run up here and explore. Hopefully nothing kills him, but he could set up some nice surprises for the enemies. Because first one is another gate port. I guess we can teleport from here to there, so that's pretty cool. This other one is Wounded Priest. Recruitable. 4 life, 2 attack, 2 movement, and a relic. Oh, interesting. I could immediately recruit him, and he would go to the closest path, which means he would just attack the plant guys. Well, I guess it would have mattered which path I chose, but you know, I like the idea of him hitting the enemy a few times as they pass by more. If I'm lucky, I can even have them wound him and then finish him off for the relic myself. Alright, here comes our friend, the Grizzled Oak. Before he attacks, we'll shoot him. We've got 2 dice happening. If we magically roll 2 doubles, then he'll be dead. I'd be very happy with just regular damage here. Oh, okay, that's even better. Alright, so he's down to 1. Darb can finish him off easily. But he does smash the fortification with his 2 damage. Okay, Osh gets 1 final turn because the second that one side has no units left, here is kind of shut down and just have to sit where they are. Which is great because he can run in and heal himself all of his damage, and then he can deploy next time. Now, normally he could just sit there and heal damage with his survival skill, but this will just save us some time a little bit. So he'll be hanging out for the next wave. So Darb, come on in, smash that oak, and get the 3 source. Now, I can't level up again, of course, so I don't get any benefit from it besides that. So I don't usually do this, but I think I'm going to have to pull a Colin here, because that was only 1 wave, and this is already a pretty long video. So I'll do the next waves in another video. We'll see if we can crank out waves 2, 3, and 4 if we survive that long in a single video now that we've kind of gone through the rules and a lot of the units. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. We've got all 3 of our towers still alive and somewhat upgraded. Osh is at full life and has 3 attack and 4 against landmark enemies. That should be pretty awesome. And the Brahmin have 6 source to upgrade our towers further, so we can make them really nasty and hopefully do a ton of damage to the enemies. Meanwhile, the heirs have 12 source. Yeah, I mean, that's 12 plus 6. That's 18 source to pump these guys up. And Darb, a little bit injured. He's kind of all the way out here by himself, because here stay where they are, but he can run away pretty easily with his flying, and he's got 2 attack, and he can dodge if he gets killed. Not too bad. And you know, in a way, I'm almost happy that the fortification chip went away, because now I've got myself some extra upgrading, because they can only have 5 chips. That's their max here. So I could, like, pump this up with maybe 2 more attack and then a fortification, or I could make the range 3 and hit them all the way along the way while they work their way to the towers. Yeah, lots of options to explore. I'm excited to see how things go. And lest we forget, my little bombing birdies, they'll be making their return in the next round. So not only will I have nastier towers, but some big bombers to go. In a way, I kind of think the first wave was the toughest one, but we'll see if I'm right in the next video. And I think I'm going to hold off on my review of the game until I finish this series, so check that out pretty soon. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.